What did a crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him/her? She asked me to prom. I said yeah. 2 days before prom, I actually don't want to go with you. But I already bought both of our tickets. As the guy, I expect you to pay me back for them. I tried to explain that's not how transactions work. She kept telling me it was my responsibility. I asked if she was smoking crack. Never heard from her again. Feels like what she really asked to start was hey, buy me and some other guy prom tickets. She ended up not going. All of her friends resented me for it. So she paid for the tickets herself. Then didn't use them. And that's your fault. Logic checks out. You monster. He said that he doesn't like ugly people and they all should die or be put in a corner. He threw my sister's birthday card for our mom out of the car's window as a joke. Even though my sis told him she spent 6 hours making it. He made my sister cry. Edit. I too would have liked to throw him out of the window, but we were young at that time. Coming home from school and a driver was set to pick the three of us. I did ask the driver to stop the car. But it was the middle of the road, so he said we can't. That's not a joke. He's just an asshole. Not me, but my wife before we met. There was an event in Salt Lake City and she was from northern Washington. She had a crush on this guy and decided to join carpooling with him and couple other people. They stopped to grab some fast food and went back on their way. Well, as soon as he finished eating/drinking, he tossed the whole bag out the window while driving. After that, she barely talked to him, and once they got to SLC she left him and joined some other friends and went back home with them instead. A long road trip is one of those things that should be mandatory before marrying someone. I'm single, but I will cherish this vital information. He was an ass to our teacher because he was going to play baseball in college. Looked him up and he's definitely not doing it professionally and hasn't graduated yet. Edit. I looked him up to see if he was a professional baseball player, yet I like to see if anyone that was good at sports succeeded, and he's kind of bounced around from university to university. Since it's been over 4 years since high school. That's why I threw in that he hadn't graduated yet. Told me about his stash of kiddie porn. Yes, I did report it. Wait, what? He went through a phase. He called it, where he really just wanted to diddle kitties. It was horrifying and gross. I did call the cops. A month later, they confiscated his cell phone, laptop and desktop. Before they could press charges, he fled the country. I literally have no idea where he is now. As of 2018, the last time I ever heard from anyone associated with him, he was in Europe. I haven't bothered to look into it since. All I can say for sure is that I didn't just dodge a bullet with that guy. I freaking avoided an atom bomb. Edit. I do remember now. It might have been closer to 2 months. Because it was just starting to become pumpkin spice season when this went down. And it was after Thanksgiving when his roommate called to let me know he left. Sorry. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. Went on a date with a guy to a Chinese restaurant, and as we were leaving he threw trash on the ground when there was a trash can a few feet away. Then we went to his house to watch a movie and he picked his cat up by the scruff of its neck and threw it. Not a set it down to get it off the counter kinda thing, but a legit throw across the room. I left right then and there and told him why. He called me a bitch and a tease for whatever reason. Never gave him the impression I was going to sleep with him that night and was yelling at me as I was backing my car out of his drive. I got to the end of his road and blocked his number. I'm so worried about what happened to that cat. But I'm glad you caught that red flag and got out. Made fun of a chick who was into him for being chubby. He was fluffy himself. And I called him on it and walked away from that. Dang. How fbeeping much of a fbeep-up do you have to be to manage to have two girls into you and then go on to piss them both off at the same time? A few things. She told me she hated how much guys share their feelings/emotions now. She said that if she dates someone she wants them to be a typical man and not show any type of weakness. One of those things like, I don't want to hear if a man is sad or upset. I just don't care. She liked pretty heavy music. Like prog metal and hardcore music, which is cool. However, she didn't like anything else and would blatantly put down any other type of music and / or not give it a chance. Almost made you feel stupid for liking anything else. Showed her a friend's artwork and her response was, yeah. Not impressive. It would be impressive if they did X and Y. Like, I understand that you don't have to like every person's art, but her demeanor about it was too condescending. Edit. Didn't realize this comment would get as big as it did. TBH, I have no hard feelings to her. We moved on. It's okay. And for sure I don't think it's representative of all women. People have their own preferences, what she liked just wasn't my thing. They poked fun at my mom. Going to a primarily white school. Him and a group of his guy friends always made fun of how she dressed and how short she was. I didn't super know him. But he was a part of the group that did. And that's all I needed to know. My mom is this sweet, short Asian woman who loves to smile. And yes, she sometimes wears goofy clothing. But no one makes fun of my mama. No one. He drove like an idiot while I was in the car. I literally thought he was going to kill us. And he was road raging the whole time. This was on the highway too. I asked him to stop driving like that and he didn't. Never going out with him again. Same thing happened to me. Driving home from our first date. I wasn't talking much because the date had gone poorly and I felt uncomfortable. He got mad at me for being too quiet and pretended to fall asleep at the wheel. Leaned back in the chair. Folded his arms. And closed his eyes. We were on the highway going at least 85. I had to grab the wheel to keep us from swerving. He ran a few reds once we got to my town too. Very unpleasant experience. Hey, we still good for tomorrow? Sorry, my boyfriend wants to come over. Great way to find out she both forgot about our plans and had a BF. Asked her out. She said yes. Then she dumped me 2 weeks in, saying she didn't want to start anything new because she was moving in a month and didn't tell me. Then that time came for her to move, and where does she move? Into my house. She got with my roommate that looks creepily close to how I look. We would often get mistaken for brothers. Twins even. And started a committed relationship with him. There were some thin walls in that house too. Crush on a girl my junior year of college. She liked to heavily make fun of people, and I mean hard. Like to the point I would say hi to someone I knew. After we walked off she would have some remark. She went from attractive to not wanting to be around her really quickly. I had a crush on the girl who lived across the street from me, who I had already been friends with for years. Once we were teenagers she learned a new skill. How to cut real deep with words. Like slicing your calf muscle with words. Holy speep, this girl could make your depression go into overdrive with a single sentence. And she got a lot of practice. You forget to ask her how her favorite show was the day after a new episode aired, and she'd go over every sensitive subject you have. When she told me the day of my grandfather's funeral that my grandfather only died to get away from me. That's when I finally told her to go beep herself. And that's when I learned that she can dish it but can't take it. She started posting videos of her making out with drunk old men to her Snap. We're both in college. This guy that I'd been talking to for a while on Tinder, who I thought was cool/cute, but he never seemed down to meet up. One time he randomly messaged me to say he'd gone over to someone's place and they'd had sex 3 times. I think he was trying to make me jealous, but it just made me feel a bit gross. I've never understood this. If you're trying to make someone jealous, which let's face it you shouldn't be doing anyway, go with something simple like someone was flirting hard with me and I kind of enjoyed it. Basically saying hey I'm into you but met this chick/guy and we banged would just make me think okay so they aren't that into me then, and gross. You can have them then, I'm peeping out. Those are the same guys who are so insecure with themselves. They'll make sure their friends know if they got lucky with some exaggerated details. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me, doesn't her name go to your school? Well, crap. I grew up in a small town and one of my friends was related to everybody. In middle school he told his mother about the new girl he was seeing and she had to break the news to him that he was dating his second cousin. Same. Grew up in a small town and came from a big family. And someone asked me out, I asked what their mom's maiden name was as well as their grandmother's because there was like a 95% chance we were related. I have roughly 200 first and second was a peeping speep show to say the least. Peeping speep show. That's how you ended up with so many cousins in the first place. Was crushing on this girl for peeping months. And it turns out at her last apartment she stole $1,500 for coke and abruptly ended the lease, giving her 2 roommates barely any time at all to find new housing. One of which had to move back in with their abusive mother. Dodged a bullet. She peeped my dad. Best to not crush on your mom anyways. We were 5. Had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. A pancake wedding cake. Brilliant. I wish I had read this before I got married. You shouldn't play Dungeons and Dragons. You know. When you cast the spells in the game, you're actually casting them in your spirit. And that lets the devil get into you. I was like, wait. And I'm supposed to be the one who can't tell reality from fiction? You're telling me I wasted 3 years in high school learning Spanish instead of just casting comprehend languages? Nah. Spending the skill point to pick up a language is worth it? Save the spell slot for more explosions. Acting like a complete dickhead. And when I addressed it he said I know I'm an asshole. But I'm really sexy like. Okay. Suddenly. You're really not sexy at all. LOL sounds like something I'd say to my GF ironically for a cheap laugh. If only he was being ironic, alas. He was not. Found out he was a serial cheater and cheated on his exes with strippers and masseuses. Edit. Just to clarify. He had sex with them. Some people in the comments didn't quite get it. I see we've dated the same man. Got someone pregnant. I'm going to guess it wasn't you who he got pregnant. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. It's a bit different. But I had a moment when I was younger, maybe 15 or so, when I realized that my mom was like this. Anytime she could talk speep about someone, she would. And no one would be safe. It would be especially bad at family dinners. Almost like her only topic of conversation was talking bad about someone. This was when I realized that I'd probably be reducing contact with her once I'd moved out. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. I went on a date with a guy and he stuck his gum under the table at a bar. WTF. We were in our early 20s and out of college, working at adult jobs, and this motherfbeeper couldn't even grab a napkin? Who does that? I was driving with a girl that I liked. We went through the drive-thru and then sat and ate in the car. After she was done, she threw all the packaging out the window. I dropped her off at home and never spoke with her again. Littering is one of the things that I just cannot forgive a person for. It's so unnecessarily and gross. It would be an instant friendship/relationship ender. Dude, she knocked over my Lego Death Star. She had to go. The ultimate sin. Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. That's no way to show appreciation to a funny cat. Not my crush, but someone who had a crush on me, or so I was told. She asked for my birthday, and I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so and straight up said to me I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not crush. Damn dude. LOL. What a dumb reason. My husband is 8 months younger than me but born the same year. I love making cradle robbing jokes and telling him to respect his elders. He loves making old lady jokes. It's stupid, but it's fun to us. My fiancée is a few months older than me. Her sister is older than her husband. And their mom is older than their dad. There are many jokes made about the women in the family going after younger men. We were out drinking. He got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. Used a baby voice when speaking to me. Ah, who's a good little girl, huh? Is it you? I bet it is. Here. A condieth. Yay. I will snap your neck like a twig. Here's a light-hearted one. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular. So naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Game Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were. And thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon. Because life is strange. Divorce her/s. R/relationship advice leaking. Yeah. She doesn't like Pokemon. Sounds to me like they don't share enough of the same interests and that she probably doesn't even care that he loves Pokemon. My suggestion is to run from this evil woman and never look back. Tortured a housefly and gave an oral book report trashing my favorite book at the time for being boring and having too many words. Then started bragging he could have any girl in the school he wanted. Shortest crush of my life. And he's a liar. Since we know now there's at least one girl in the school he couldn't have. Just because I enjoy the company of kids and babies. She told me that I was a creep and a pedophile. Just because I love having kids around doesn't mean I want to have sex with them. I had a crush on a guy in 5th grade. He found out about my crush and made a really hateful nickname for me and teased me about my body. Got all of his friends to tease me too. Realizing he was a garbage person set me straight pretty quickly. Same thing happened to me, 8th grade. Ugh. He was mean to his mom. Demanded money from her so we could go out in front of me. And then called his grandma to get some more money so we could go out. So uncomfortable. Edit. Let me add more details. We were both around 21-20 seconds. I met this person. Drove from the Midwest to Dallas with him. And was essentially stuck there for 2 days before my train was scheduled to leave. This behavior was not acceptable at all. And I felt uncomfortable the entire time. I hope he wasn't more than 15. We were both like 21. Cringe. Got in his car for a date and he rolled down his window and threw about 5 fast food cups out on the side of the road. Made a comment about there being enough illegals around to clean up after him. Nope.